Hello, everyone.
Hey
Welcome
guys.
to another episode 109.
Yeah, 109. My name is Alex himself,
My name is Alice Kanji.
and this has been a really nice episode.
Yeah, it's also been a bit of a vulnerable one, which I know you guys
Yeah.
like to hear. It's just advice that we're giving to our younger selves. Because, yeah, life has lived. And of course, we've experienced things that are just reflecting, maybe, especially, I think we were reflecting more on our teenage years or
Yeah.
maybe a bit younger, maybe a bit older. But yeah, so some advice that maybe our younger audience can take up, but also to your inner child that maybe you need to remind
Oof.
yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of this, it's a very, I think, episode that you should listen to just remind yourself to give yourself grace on the experiences you've already gone through in your life.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the inner child because that's a whole other healing concept and a whole other. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're in that journey. Sometimes, in fact, as you said, I think towards the end of the episode, there's so many things we don't know how they're going to pan out, and other things will be revealed with time. And I think even with healing the inner child, it's a progressive thing because maybe when I'm married or when I have a family now is when something is revealed that wasn't healed, Then you go
Hey,
back
something
into
is
things.
revealed that wasn't healed.
Hey!
Can what in this period?
Yeah, I should have said that on the episode, but it's okay. Yeah, because I feel like I can't know everything now because I'm yet to experience versions of me that now will expose that thing that wasn't healed. So it's a step. It's not it's a journey. It's not a destination. Yeah. Yes,
Is
that's how
that
it
the
goes.
saying?
Yeah, it is.
It's about it's not about the decision, it's about the journey. Okay.
Yeah, so each
So
step there's something that will come up. It's not that now I've addressed
I
it
thought
and
you were trying to
forever.
say it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a
It's a marathon.
marathon.
There's also that.
Hey, nice saying to Nazo. Anyway,
So
yeah,
guys,
guys.
you can tell this episode will be good. So we hope you enjoy it. And yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us if you haven't already, and enjoy the episode.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. We really enjoyed filming it. So and audio, you need what is it? Filming and talking,
Recording,
recording it,
talking it.
talking it, talking the talk. Anyway, goodbye. We'll see you
Kizungu
in
Meisha.
the
Bye guys.
bye.
Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 109 of Banter Over Brunch.
Yes, and this episode, hey, I told you guys we're bringing you guests and you didn't believe us. So now we see we even have more lined up for you guys, which has been very excited. I think that's what we really, really wanted to really be a big thing for this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us what you think about the episodes you've listened to so far with the guests. Do you prefer the episodes with just us? If you do, don't worry, we have plenty of just me and Alexia. So we just felt our voices also need to relax a bit on this platform. You guys know too much.
Oh my god, I've just remembered I was gonna tell you something, but I'll tell you after the episode. Please remind me.
That's who's reminding you there.
Gidi.
Oh,
Because it's anyway, I'll tell you something exciting that I think we should do.
just say down. Say now.
No, people steal our idea. Though
Okay.
I stole the idea also.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you're just saying if people prefer us or with guests. Is this podcast I listen to, and I really don't like when they have guests on their podcast.
I think you know exactly.
I
I know
really
exactly.
struggle. I'm like, I just want you guys just
Just
to
on
be
the
the
two
ones
of you.
talking. Yeah.
There are
but
people who
anyway.
it's just like that, honestly. Kwanza, there's another podcast they already made. They add another guest. Disaster.
Is it the guys? Even the guys' podcast, this big one.
Oh,
Remember when they had a guest and it was just too formal? And
Yeah.
guys, and after that, they've not even had guests, I think.
yeah. I know it's just normally some podcasts don't do well with guests, but I think our guests are normally very insightful.
Yeah, me, I
and
love our
relate
guest
to
episodes.
our audience because yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it might
prefer. I
have-
don't know. I don't say I prefer guest episodes per se, but I do love when we have guests over.
I think as podcasters, you get excited when you have guests because for you now it's like, let's break.
Let's take a
You said
break.
we've talked too much. I think we really have good guests and we love the reception that the episodes have gotten. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
supporting us, and more are coming. Also, tell us the type of people you'd like to see on the podcast.
Exactly.
I think that can also help us bring you people who are relevant to you
I
guys.
think so far we've had just women though, so it's exciting to now move. I think we're moving towards more male representation the next coming episodes. That's already a
Facts.
hint on some of the conversations. So our branch boys, what are they called normally?
Branch babes and branch. We had names.
We had names. We had
Branch hands and branch
it
babes.
wasn't branch hands. Branch babes and
I remember,
anyway.
I think it was Zulessa who gave us that. I can't remember. Yeah, I feel like. Anyway, yeah, the guys.
The guys, yeah, branch boys or whatever you're called. Yeah. So your representation will also be felt very soon. But yeah, where do we even start this conversation?
Have you been, first of all?
Oh, yeah, I've been okay. I've just been living life one day at a time. Life is lifing, but honestly, mostly positive energy. You know, I've been getting a lot of good news. Work is finally making sense. I remember being on this podcast, I was very, very upset by how my role became. I mean, I was very big on acquisition, which is like getting more users to download the app, but it's a very intense work, part of marketing that you need to be in because reporting numbers and you're working with, honestly, when it comes to, I'm sorry, this, I don't want to make this like a marketing podcast, but when it comes to acquisition, you're fighting with algorithms and hoping for the best, that you're making the best predictions,
which change every second.
change every single time. Sometimes you think it's the content, but sometimes it's like people are just not receiving things the way you think, so it's just constantly trying to you need your head about doing things and then not getting the results maybe you need.
Yeah.
Or you also need to spend a lot of money and you need to account for the money. And if you don't get results, so it's just a very intense side of marketing. But in my head, I already fixated on the fact that that's the epitome of what you're at the top in marketing. If you're able to do acquisition, you're the best in marketing. So when I lost that part of my role, at the current job that I work in, I was very low for a while because I was confused at what my role is going to become. Am I going to lose my job at this point? I mean, what is my significance? Like, have I not made an impact since I came here? And then my role kind of transitioned to more of a content and PR perspective, which I think, opinions of people telling you how, you're doing just content or you're a content creator. I feel like even if I'm one myself, I internally told myself that this is such a low blow. Like, I can't be a good marketer. But now I'm a bit more, I'm settling more into my role and it's coming so naturally to me. Like, I'm having conversation. I think it's just my strength and I was really just trying to downplay it. And I think I'm just learning that, like, it's better for you to work in a role that it comes more naturally to you because you'll be the best person you can be in that role. And you'll produce more results than a role that you're really struggling. I'm not saying that you don't learn. I also loved learning the acquisition process, but I'm just saying that right now I'm a bit more happier with my decision because, hey, all the best to the other person because the same struggles I was going through are the same that he is. And so it's like, it's also not just a me problem. It's just acquisition is not the easiest place to be. So yeah, work-wise things are starting to make sense. And I think it's also playing really well in my current new brand into the tech industry. So when I meet people, I'm also meeting them as Alice, the tech influencer, which I think is what I want to grow into. So yeah, very cooperative side of me. Yeah,
I like what you said because I saw some person who I know is a software developer or something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, building products it's okay for them. Maybe let's say it's super easy or it's something that you can easily do, but marketing is where it's at." And I laughed because I was like, sometimes people downplay marketing as a career. I think because they don't understand it, the full scope of it, They're talking about acquisition and you're talking about innovation. There's so many things, strategy that all fall into marketing.
Yeah.
So I just laughed. It was like, yeah, by the way, because I'm sure there's so many amazing ideas out there that haven't been brought to light because of just one or two things, and it's not easy also to And yes, the product can be good and all that, but hey, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
marketing
kidogo
is in
cutthroat
itself. It's very
sahi.
cutthroat. But
Yeah.
I'm liking the youth thing. I'm going for events, trying to talk to people about this. Trying to talk to media houses. So very also in line with things that I wanted to do
Yes. And
and
even
what I
your
even studied
background.
in my
Exactly.
degree and actually living through it. I'm like, why was I so
Resistant.
resistant
Because you are
towards?
comfortable. It's what you had known. As much as it was challenging, to you, that's all you knew. Or not all
Yeah,
you knew, but you were very comfortable at the end of the day. So you're
yeah.
like, huh? PR,
Yeah.
like,
So, guys,
yeah.
change is not always the worst thing in the world. In fact, anything that has ever changed in my life in a way that is scary has always has always been a good decision for me to have made, or not decision, but a good change in my life. Whenever I feel like something is scary, I don't know what to do, it has always come out on the other side of a positive side of things. So yeah, I just think it was a call for me to do more things that scare me. So
Yeah. I like
yeah.
that. I like that. Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
Mimi
You, how
niko
are you?
too. I don't know. I feel like we talked recently on the podcast, but yeah, I'm well. Can't complain. Also just getting into a transition. Also in terms of life, I think with the second half of the year, life is going to start looking a bit different for me, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to curate my life experience.
How do you mean different for you?
Like in terms of school, career, like it's just sort of everything is coming. Okay, anyway, I'm finishing school in May, June. Yeah, so in June. And I've been dragging this thing because I'm very comfortable being a student.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy being a student. I enjoy learning and all that. So I'm like, okay, that means this thing that has taken a huge chunk of my life. I mean, when do we start school? 3 years.
Yeah.
So over 20 years of my life. And then now I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And even
Yeah.
when I was working full time, I was still in school. So I still
There
felt
was always a fallback that
I
you
was still a student. And I'm like, gosh, this is an adult thing. And
do you
I'm
wanna
trying to
now
figure
really
out what that would look for me. Yeah, because yeah, it's interesting, but it's exciting as well.
do you wanna go back to the corporate space, or is that just gonna be like a call? I know you're taking content education a lot more seriously now.
Yeah, I still don't think I'd go back this year because I'm still trying to give content creation now 100% because I think I've been giving it 70 because of school or 50. So now I want to see if I add that other 50%, how would that look
No,
for
and I
me?
think you should
Yeah, then I think
see
as
how
long as
things
you
go.
have papers, I guess you can sort of always find yourself in a
And
cooperative space somehow.
so they say.
So they say. I know it's not
But
as easy as it sounds, but yeah. So I'm not in a hurry to get back. Really, yeah. I still feel like I want to explore this other side of
and
life.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Me, I'm trying to explore everything, and I don't
I
know.
know. Remember, I'm like, guys, am I being in this? Am I wanting too much? Anyway, I'm gonna talk about that was like one of my points that we're gonna talk about today because again, when I'm like, okay, what are some of the areas I've been interested in, and I'm like, okay, let me go look for a short course and actually pursue just
Wewe bado
things.
unarudi shule.
Yeah, let
That's
me
what
tell
people
you.
use as scapegoats for everything. Let me just go back and learn.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I like learning. So I'm thinking, what do you mean that I'm done learning? Apana, natafuta kitu.
Learn
Then yesterday I was
on
like, actually, in high school, I really wanted to. Nikaanza kutafuta mafi structure. Nikasema, well, apana. So no. Yeah, but I genuinely enjoy
It's
learning.
time. It's
Yeah.
time for you to take the break and enter the real world like the rest of us. But no,
Yeah.
it's good
No,
to
but
keep
like do
learning
it
and
at the same
growing.
time.
Yeah.
But it's exciting to see what that means. Yeah. We've talked about
Yeah.
masters programs also as well, but I'm like,
Honestly,
hey,
I think I wouldn't mind doing my master's just in a different country, although like hey, shule tena, tifo tough.
yeah, it's easier said than
It's
done.
easier said
And
than
then you
done. But
realize here, okay, I'm back to
Kwanzaa, when I just think about how I struggled writing that thesis and then I think of a master's one.
you give up,
Tough.
you move on in your
Nisha
job.
give up hata kabla nimeanza.
Yeah. But
But
anyway, life, that's
we'll just
life.
see how
We'll
things
figure it
go.
out and yeah, a step at a time. So
Yeah. So life's going. Tell us, you guys, how life is. Maybe you want to share
for
with
you
us any
guys.
accomplishments you've had or any news, you can always share with us on any of our social media platforms. Also, a call for you to subscribe now that you're here, whether you're listening on the podcast platforms
Yeah,
or
boo.
on YouTube. It's time for you to subscribe as we get now into the gist of the episode, which is the topic we're discussing for the day.
Yep.
Advice to my younger self. First of all, before you even get there, Diamond does not know how to speak English.
That we know. It's okay.
Hey.
English is a foreign language. We are Africans.
Hey.
It's the colonizers' language.
Hey, Tanzanians, you really normally, sometimes they like to fight us about when we say, English sometimes.
No, but Tanzania, they speak Swahili kabisa.
They
Hata si
speak
kama yetu.
kabisa. Even they learn in Swahili.
Yeah, like chemistry in Swahili.
Hey, wanna push. Okay, no,
Yes.
but it's beautiful. Like, embrace Swahili.
maintain.
But I really just didn't expect. Like, it's like I watched season 1, but I just think his Swahili is worse than season 2, in my opinion. What do you think about Young
I
African?
might think his English is better in season 2. I think
I've only
Diamond anabeba the whole show. Anabeba
I
East
feel like
Africa.
they really look up to them. They all just
But he
kiss
is a
his
star.
ass.
He is a star.
I must arise and shine.
What did he say? His favorite word is so disrespectful. When Andile does it, what did he say? That's it.
Episode 5 is like, wow, I love your suit. Eh? I love how you
my
look.
brother, my G. Hey. Young, famous, and African. I think the production is amazing in terms of how the cinematography, the video, like it's Hollywood standards in my opinion. The script, storyline, it's selling what it needs to sell, which is drama. There's nothing that is adding value really, rather
Genuinely.
than the drama. So I think also.
But we were complaining when we go to Real Houses of Nairobi, those girls stopped having drama, so imeanza kuwa boring. So the drama is
so
what
they
we're
stopped
here.
selling what they meant to sell. Now mko Mombasa, mna have
Fantasia,
fun,
number 1 artist, dancehall artist, Fantana, whatever.
na baptized.
Tukiangalia Spotify, have you checked how many listeners she's got? Those have come from the show.
Oh, facts.
Because
I don't know.
like when she said, I saw a TikTok at number 1. She says I'm the number 1 dancehall artist from Ghana, and there's a meme of a guy like, who the fuck is this?
I love
person?
Fantana. She's like city girl. She's bringing the energy that she
bringing the
needed to
energy,
bring. I
eh?
think when we were
But then we
discussing,
watched
I feel like she was a great addition to the show, and she's playing her role very well.
I love
so
that.
far.
So far.
But you're in episode 1,
I'm
me,
on
I'm
episode
episode
1.
5. So
I think I have a question though. Do you think Andile needed to ask Diamond for permission before approaching Zari, or it shouldn't even approach in the first place?
I think he shouldn't have approached in the first place. Not because of anything really. It's just because, for sure, Diamond and Andila are not friends. I don't think Ati
But they
outside
used
the show.
to be.
Outside
Okay.
the show, I don't think Ati they are friends.
Yeah.
But now because they've been brought into the show, obviously there's that thing of, hey, you can't do that, And yes, I know Diamond is like, oh, she's the mother of my kids. He said that like 50 times on the show. And I think for him, it's just that you can't expect me to be okay knowing I know you and you're smashing my
yeah.
Because I mean,
Baby
Zari
mama.
has been in relationships, even her herself. I think for now she's in a relationship.
Yeah.
And Diamond is usually calm because he's like, mate, I don't know who these guys are. You see, but
now knowing
now in the
it's
same
circle,
it's a bit weird. Yeah.
Andile is such a player, by the way.
No, he's those people. I even just said it. He's those people who, the heartbreak they give you is not normal.
Premium.
Because Jifanyas is Prince Charming. Jifanyas, I'm such a romantic. I'm thinking about these things. But he's just like Diamond.
They're just same Musa. He's just like Diamond.
Just like
They're just the
Diamond.
same
He's
guy.
he's a bit more,
poise about it.
and just trying to act mature. But he's the same. How many baby mamas does he have? He said he has 7 kids or something.
Hey, can we talk? Hey, Anya Merogwa.
Okay, I'm not talking about her because
This is depressing. I know you can love someone,
stop
but
feeling sorry for her. Me, I've agreed. I've come to realize, yeah.
she's part of the problem. Because have you seen those, whatever Two-Face was saying, I've seen in TikToks about, but
That's what I'm
I can
saying.
fuck if I want to
Yeah,
fuck.
as we are getting angry for not, her, she's fine. She didn't need us to save her. She's fine.
Hey, and then I don't know who, one of her friends, I've forgotten, the South African Kanye was telling, was asking, do you know how much Annie loves you? Like, yeah, I feel, no, but you understand the depth of how much she loves you. That, I mean, what do you do to make her feel secure and safe after, all the things that have happened? I try to show her the good life, I fly her sometimes small gifts here and that. That is how you show her you are sorry and security. And he's a good guy. He only has 5 kids. Only 5 kids.
Yeah, only. And it's only 2 wives. In fact, he said he's not even slept around. They are from 2 women.
And it's not even, you can't even call children. Like, children are blessing.
They are our children. Don't talk about my children. That's what I'm saying. She's fine.
She's fine.
We're the ones making it a big deal. We're the ones in their business. She's okay. She loves her 7 children. They're happy. Yeah. They're happy.
Okay. Anyway, all the best, Tani. Yeah. I really just hope the kids in future don't watch, especially Annie's kids, watch this and be like, why would you steal? No, yeah, and feel like, why would my mom still do this to herself? I feel like that's a trauma thing you can instill in your kids and you don't know. But anyway, wako sawa. All the best to Baba.
Leave their DBS.
Oye, aka rest in peace. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we've delved. Again, she was so happy describing her mom.
I'm so in love.
Anyway, we've delved deeply into this, and now we can move on
to the
serious business. We were talking about the advice we're giving to our younger selves. Yeah. I think when I refer to my younger self, I'll refer more into my teenage years because those were what a time to be alive. Yeah. But yeah, how were you when you were your younger self? Like, if you were to describe your younger self, how would you describe? Teacher's pet, number 1.
Yeah, as a smart girl, very responsible. So of course, teachers loved me, and I loved them back. Yeah, I've always loved my teachers. I think God has blessed me with good teachers. I'd say I was very ambitious. Like, before you step into the world and you're told you can't. Me, I felt there's nothing I can't do. I remember I wanted to be a news anchor for CNN.
Hey.
Because now that time was like, international, And I think the only Kenyan who was at CNN that time was Zain Vaji. Yeah, anyway, I can still make it to CNN. But, yeah, I think I was very ambitious. I was very... Yeah, as I was calm. I think I was also a very calm person, and I saw the world as my oyster, and I was looking, and I still am, I guess, looking forward to being a star.
Were you a wild kid?
I was very careless. Like, I used to lose things all the time, but I wasn't those people who'd get into trouble or stay out late.
At what point did you get your tattoo?
Okay. Now let me tell you about that season in my life. Yeah. Now, then I started becoming a bit wild. Not even wild. I think because I was just mature and I was hanging out with people who are older than me. Like, my friends, like, even the friends that I had that time, like, their siblings were older than us, So you want to do what your siblings are doing. You want to. So guys are getting piercings, guys are getting tattoos. Me, I'm like, yeah. Even me, I'm a big girl. So that's my tattoo story. Nothing. Okay, but yeah, I was a bit wilding, quite a bit, but wilding, but with a focus. I still knew there's limits to this wilding. Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
You made yourself sound like an angel.
Oh, I've said that's wilding. But I have to be politically correct. What? I can say something.
It's true. Hata mi nisiseme vitu mob. I'm gonna be a star. Me as a kid, I was a bad kid. Point blank period. But I was also very I don't think my personality has changed. Like the Alice, I feel like sometimes what you see is what you get with me. And I've always kind of been like that. My personality is just there. Like, like, even when you just, even I don't know. I just feel like when you know me, you'll just what you see is what you get. So I think I've always just still been the same, but yeah, I was the noisemaker. Yeah, I was an above average kid in terms of school education. Um, all the parties I was there. I was probably the leader of every group. Okay, let me not say every group, but I was probably one of the popular kids throughout my life.
Yeah.
Those are always the bad ones. Backbenchers. I was.
I think I was also popular, but like responsible popular.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know. I always used to work my way around, like even my parents' rules or be home by 7 was like just a suggestion to me. I would sneak out all the time, but I was never caught until after I finished Form 4, honestly. Yeah, I was just a bad kid.
No, you're just a normal kid.
But I was a normal. Yeah, I say I was no. By the time I was like 14, I already knew how to call, a cab to go to places. So by the time I was in high school, me and my neighbors, we used to live close to each other, but we used to want to go to Kilele. And look, Kilele show at some point when we were teenagers was such a buzz. So we got this one cab driver, and every weekend when I'm home midterm, guys, we're going to Kileleshwa, there's something happening, and we just pick each other, we contribute to that Uber, and that guy used to charge us 2K. No, 1K going, coming back, so 2K for Nini. And I don't know why it was always Kileleshwa, but we go.
That's how the party was.
There was no Ubers, but yeah, no, I was a para. Yeah. But I think I was also a very angry kid. Like I had so many anger. I had so much anger
Pent up.
inside me that I think at some point I even got depressed, but I didn't want to say it was depression because I also used to want to have a very hard-on face, which is still something that I do today. Like you cannot catch me crying. As who? Alice, come on, it's me. So yeah, but I also was really, really when I was thinking about my future, I thought about my future as very large as I didn't want to stay in Kenya for sure. I knew I wanted to go abroad. I had a big craze for the UK at some point. If you ask me about the UK or even the map or where things are, I know exactly where they're because I used to spend a lot of my time like studying and manifesting to go to the UK. So when I thought about my future, I really thought of it as a global scale. And what's funny is I don't think that's ever changed about me. I think that's still how I view
the
myself.
seasons, yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I've ever changed. And I'm still a wild person now. I'm just the same person, just I was younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I think we can now get to the advice for the younger self. So maybe you can start. Guys, I've lost my nose ring. Tell me where you guys buy nose rings, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd tell my younger self that life wouldn't necessarily go according to plan. I think when you're young, you remember even compositions used to write what I want to be when I grow up or how you want, like wishful thinking, fantasy, and not fantasy, but yeah. And then you go through life. Like I think for me, I was very comfortable in terms of my primary school. I was extremely comfortable. Like life was very stable for me. I knew, yeah, class 1 to class 8 is like this. And then high school came in with so many changes. And I don't do well with change. I do extremely well with structure. I like when things are flowing from point A to point D,
Yeah.
and I know what that looks like for me. And so now in high school, I ended up like changing schools 3 times, not because of indiscipline. And for me, I felt so like I wasn't at equilibrium.
Disoriented.
I was like, I've just made friends here. I'm moving.
Why did you move?
So my school in Form 1 was really nice, but I didn't like the boarding system. And just for some unknown reason, my spirit just wasn't at peace there. So kajitatea. So I moved to day school in Form 2, which was back to the school that I was in primary, which was amazing. I loved it. But the only thing is we had moved out of town, so that back and forth, of course, was draining. I was getting home late. I was getting to school late. Traffic is so annoying. So that wasn't so sustainable. And then now, like from 3 and 4, I was forced to go back to boarding. And this time I was taken to a boarding, which was like a culture shock for me. Like the whole place was a culture shock. But Yeah, and now you know you're so helpless. Like, what are you gonna do? Ata if you sulk, if you throw a tantrum, at the end of the day, utaenda to juu, wezi kaa home, you know. Anyway, so all that to say that I felt very out of equilibrium. I just felt, again, I really feel like I also wasted my high school years because I was like, oh, I didn't even get into clubs. I didn't get into sports. I didn't get to, I wanted to do like MUNs and whatnot, which I think I'd be really good at. But because now I keep shifting and moving, subjects that I wanted to take, I had to drop because they're not being offered. Just a lot was happening. And I think it even spilled over to even like my uni life, but uni not as crazy as high school because uni I just like switched once. But yeah, all this to say that I tell my younger self like, hey, sometimes some things are beyond my control, because they as I said, they just changed and I didn't know what to do. But at the end of the day, it's still progress. Somehow it's still movement, It may look different for me. And I think, as I said, as a person who loves structure, I was even in a Catholic school, and I think those are one of the things it instills in you. Because even like uni in Strath, people say it's strict, but for me that is amazing because I'm used to that structure. I'm used to,
Yeah.
you can't be dressing anyhow with their rules and all that. So for someone who's gone through life like that and then now feeling very lost, I feel like it lost my whole life. I was like trying to figure things out now. Yeah, so I'd warn myself, I'd warn my younger self that life won't necessarily go according to plan. But I think now, in hindsight, of course, when I look back where I am today and all the steps that or whatever has happened, I feel like all of it has worked together to bring me here. And I like where I'm at right now. And I have the power and the opportunity to plan for the future. I can't really go back and try and change things, but I can sort of future proof, kidogo, kidogo. Of course, still not 100%, but I can move from now. Yeah.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, you are someone who likes quite a bit of structure, and you thrive in those systems. So
Yeah.
sorry you had to go through that, but I like you said, everything happened to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
Sometimes some things, sometimes in life, feel so unnecessary. I don't have to go through this, honestly, but sometimes it's like, it all ends up making sense at the end of it all, and sometimes
Yeah.
I feel the same way as well. I think my first advice that I'd give to my younger self, my teenage self, is especially my high school self, is don't be so angry. It makes you depressed. I think when I reflect on my teenage years, as much as it was wild and I'd party a lot when I could, when I shouldn't have, I have zero regrets there, by the way. But at the end of the day, I was so angry inside, especially towards my parents. I almost to a point where I think I resented my parents, especially for taking me to the school I was in. I hated Riara. I hated it. And that was my high school. And everybody says they probably had a worse experience. But
That's
yeah,
yours.
no, I hated Riara. Absolutely did. It made me so angry, it made me depressed. It made me, on top of that, home didn't feel like home because, of course, I have this personality I want to let out, but when I'm at home, I have to really just enclose myself because didn't feel like I could be myself. I was just so angry all the time. So at some point, I think I was depressed because everything in my life just felt so. I don't think high school 844 systems give you opportunities for. I don't know. People had good high school experiences, I guess, but for me, those were 4 years of my life until today. I was at my worst. Um, but maybe if I wasn't so angry and I just went through the processes without like, trying to film, I would try to fill my time with things. So I was playing guitar every single day at 4 p.m. I'd play guitar, or I never used to be a sports person. I actually started gymming very consistently after high school. But drama festival, I was there. Like, poem, I'm there. So things you fill your time to make you at least feel something. But I was just angry through it all, and I don't think it made me a better person. I think it actually made me worse. And maybe that time I spent being angry could have built me to not even solidify some traumas that maybe I'm dealing with till today. So
Yeah.
yeah, not to be so angry, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel because it was just a season and the season passed. So, but no, I hated Riara. And I'm mentioning the name so that people know the high school I was in and that I do not recommend, period. Aya. The next one.
Okay, my next one is I tell my younger self, but that I'm not defined by my achievements. Actually, when you are talking about your growth and accusations role and how you felt some type of way when that was taken
Yeah.
away or now transitioning into something else.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, because sometimes you find identity from the things that you're doing or the things that you're able to achieve. Again, this episode we're really reflecting on, looking back. I think, as I was saying, I was a very smart child. As those people who used to sing, those traditional things. Like I was always, you'd know me, and then I'd also pass in school. So of course there's a point now in rebellion or in don't care, you stop even reading. I remember in Form 1, I was told to do, I'll do. I think I got a C+. Hey, I was given a whole lecture. Where? You'd think I got an E, guys. I'm just attention seeking. I'm just bored. I can decide to read if I want to. But anyway, just saying, sometimes growing up as a star child or always being picked out to do stuff and, being the unique kid, you end up feeling like, oh my God, this reminded me of therapy. Hey, again, guys, we always having couch therapy. Because my therapist was really the things that I was struggling with. She was like, what is the genesis of this? You're dealing with a lot of, like you feel like you're letting people down or like why are you being so hard on yourself? Exactly. So I think it's just that thing, you grow up and you feel okay, or this is the only place you get validation from, and now it's not going as well as it should. Or again, when I was in my limbo, I was just in my limbo and I feel like I wasn't exerting myself the way I wanted to exert myself, and because of that I felt bad, because I felt like my identity was tied to how well I'm doing in school, was tied to how well I'm doing in extracurricular activities, and how well I'm adding onto my accolades or onto my experience. It's even like saying, okay, I feel like I should have joined clubs, I should have had more exposure, I could have even gotten a scholarship for uni from high school. Like I felt, so by the time I'm like, there's nothing to me, to my name, So I've had to work through that and be like, there are seasons of wow, success that is loud, that everyone can see and people are acknowledging it. And there are those seasons where it's quiet, it's very quiet success. And I'm the only one who knows that today I have, even like on the podcast, I'm sure even for you in your personal podcast, when you were planning, you had successful days and you're like, wow, I'm halfway through this big goal that I've planned for. And that time, no one can see that success for you, It's until it's 6 months into the podcast and now you're getting that recognition. But even in that quiet season, it was a success, you get. So just sort of defining success for me and realizing that all these other things are external factors. Me as Alexia, without the accolades, without anything, I am worthy, I am valuable, and I'm amazing, and these are just other extra things. And they're not that they're not good things, but I mean, there'll come another season in life. Maybe I've just given birth or something and I've taken two years break and I'm just at home taking care of my kids because that's what I've decided to do. And to other people, it may look like I'm wasting my life or anakaanga to home.
It's true.
But for me, it's a success to see my children happy, to see my children healthy, and to watch them go through these different transitions in life, seeing them walk for the first time, So, yeah, just not to be defined by my achievements. I think even in life, even after the corporate space, even just socially, you feel like if you're in a relationship, extra marks. If you get married, extra marks. If you're single now, you feel there's a problem with you or there's something like that. No. Yeah. You're whole as you are. Yeah.
What can I even add to that? I think that's something that a lot of us still struggle with to this day. I think it's something so recurring because I was having a very similar conversation with Gail yesterday where, it's very hard, especially when you're going to a difficult time, especially even in adulthood, because it translates from teenagehood to adulthood, for what you do not to define you because it's what you naturally have been working towards since as a kid. So you've already wired your mind to believe that your success is defined by who you are in your, you know, corporate or your work, your work achievements, basically. So easier
Yes,
said
it's
than done,
for
but
sure.
genuinely, like, it's hard to not do that because for you to get money you need to be good at that, especially, or do something. Or if you're not happy in what you do in your work, it's very difficult for you to really acknowledge that I am worth more than this, which you are. But I know it can be difficult, so just that constant reminder, I think it's a continuous process a lot of us still deal with, but you are worthy, whether or not you're doing well in your career, whether or not you're where you want to be at this point in your life. Like, just keeping to remind yourself that, keep reminding yourself that, it's okay for me to be in this season. It will pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have the power
And you have the
to
power.
move, because I
Exactly.
think that thing, that fear, that self disappointment now leaves you stuck. Instead of even moving, now you're stuck and you wallow in that sadness
Yeah.
and end up not even moving and doing anything about it. So, yep.
Okay. Sour. My next point, I think, hey, a lot of us can relate, maybe, but my next point is leave that boy alone. No,
Oh, I was gonna have that, but anyway.
leave that boy alone. People always say, I think I've seen this tweet multiple times.
Yeah.
Why something to do with why is the worst why is the worst love experience your boyfriend do at 19 or something like that. And it's so true. Like, my teenage years I wasted on one particular person, but I felt like we were soulmates, because we had been following each other. Even when we moved schools, we were either in the same school or we live in the same neighborhood, or just constantly kept following each other. At the time, we get mobile phones eventually, like somewhere in class 8, form 1. I was in boarding, but they would still keep coming back,
Yeah.
to this one person. So I felt like we were soulmates, because surely if this person we've been going back and forth since class 3 until now when I'm 19, 20, tulimalizana your story
Class
when we were in
3.
uni. I feel like the red flags were there from class 3 when he chose my best friend over me for
Wow,
for
sis.
Matahatran. He said, we're going together. I find him with my friend.
Oh, yeah,
Class
I'm so
4, he
sorry.
dated my other best friend. And
You still didn't see.
those behaviors, I should have seen, because they were the same
Zinaanzanga
behaviors
mapema.
at 19, the same behaviors when we ended things officially when I was in uni.
Wow.
So yeah, I had one relationship that really, really defined and shaped who I thought of myself, and like maybe even who I am today, especially in my relationships, because of this person who just he basically cheated throughout the entire relationship, actually. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I know you watch me sometimes.
Eh?
Eh. And even when he went to live in a different country, and I thought, oh, surely we can do the long distance thing. And then when he finally came back to Kenya, I thought, long distance was the hindrance. Now I've finished high school. Surely this is my person. He was not. He was not. I think I could have done very much better in my life if he was not there. And I think it even just stopped me from actually maybe getting into more healthier relationships or focusing more on my friendships. It fueled the anger I already had within me and all throughout my teenage years.
Your self-worth
My
also
self-worth,
declines.
he just made me feel small. I think you're very sensitive when you're a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And so a boy can have such a huge impact in your life. And this boy really did. He really did. And I can't say I'm grateful for the experience. There's nothing I'm grateful for there. But I learned, I learned a lot from that relationship for sure. But I think I would have done better if it was not in my life. So leave that boy alone. Yeah, if you're listening to this, you're somewhere with someone and you're just like,
And
damn.
you already know. This
I
confirmation for
know,
you. Yeah.
this confirmation for you, because even when you're in a terrible situation or relationship, this is not good for you, but I think you hold on to the hope of something
It's the
eventually
story you've
changing, to the
created.
story,
Yeah.
the narrative you created in your mind. Because I was so holding on to that narrative of this should be my soulmate because we've known each other for so long and our love story has problems, but like it's meant to
Surely,
be.
class 3.
Bro, like
But anyway.
I don't know. And he was a bad boy. You know those bad boys. I was a bad girl. Power couple. Nowhere. I think with time when I started knowing better in uni, when I started, we had nowhere close to being with each other.
Yeah.
Like he was not complimenting me at all. My personality and his were completely different. I felt he, was holding me back than moving me forward. So I think eventually, yeah. And even after we ended things, I found out that he was dating two other people at the same time. So
Hectic.
teenage years wasted. So leave him. Yeah.
I think for me, to add on to that, I want to give it as a full point. But I think if he wanted to, he would. You know, I think I had very good. I didn't date till I dated, or I did not get into a relationship until I got into a relationship. But obviously, there were situationships along the way. Here's about messy, actually. I've come to think of it, but I think as I got older and now I was like, okay, I want to settle down with someone. And then now people just start acting funny. As you said, you start making excuses for them because of this narrative that you have. And I'm like, you know what? Take it as it is. Take it at face value, you know. Okay, once is okay. It's a
Judge a
mistake.
book by its cover.
But twice, thrice, you can't be
Annie,
explaining to
come
someone
on.
to how to
Don't be
how to
Annie.
go about things, especially if it's the bare minimum, you know. So save yourself the heartbreak. You don't have to be dating, by the way. You don't have to
You
you don't have to be in an unhealthy situationship just to say you have someone that you're talking to, or because you want to just it's fine.
Yeah.
Nice. I think my next point would be be prepared for heartbreak. As I said, okay, I think in terms of relationships, my heartbreak wasn't so severe. I think I used to cry then. No, like when I used to decide I'm done, you know, like
It's true.
But obviously there's that like, oh, is there anything I can do better
Before
Is it-
deciding.
yeah, like can I try again? Then you find you try again, but bado, it's not working. So be prepared for that. I mean, all the time you get with someone, it's because you hope for the best. So sometimes you can't really prevent that from happening. So just tell myself to be prepared for heartbreak. I think another hard form of heartbreak would be like friendship breakups. I think that's something
Oh, yes.
I think even in kindergarten people go through it. Like, I'm not talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
Like even in kindergarten, primary, you know how those two small friendship and they hurt. Me, like if my
They
baby
hurt
comes and
so
tells me
much.
their friend is not talking to them.
My friend is not talking
Oh,
to me.
yeah.
Actually, just to tie into your point, my next point would be kinder. You know, being a popular kid, sometimes you feel like you have the authority to talk to people the way you need to, or like people won't, you
You're
can
bigger than
disrespect
others.
people. And I'm so sorry to the people that I bullied. I know I bullied a lot of people in my life. And I know some of them maybe have, they shape, they instill some trauma in you.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some things I remember saying to some of my classmates, and I'm just like, that was so unnecessary. Like, people are so different. Sometimes you don't have to have done the same things. I used to bully people like, Yani, you've not tried, like, you've not gone to the movies, you've not done Planet Yoga, like such small things. And I know they would feel so like, guy,
For sure, they'd feel bad. I think when me, maybe my personality came out as I'm a big bully, and I own it. Alice and we've apologized.
I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're just like, yeah. But I will also tell you that good people do not finish, bad people don't finish last. Yeah. I'm not saying that to defend me, but I want also just advice to my younger self. If you feel sometimes like they'll revenge or something will happen to them, it's not always that it happens.
Yeah, life doesn't work like that.
Life doesn't work like that. Sometimes people just
it's not
sometimes, and you'll hold on to yourself like this person is still thriving like after they do.
No. Me, squeezy. Even the worst. The people I think, akona baraka zake zamekewa, but yeah.
They don't finish that. So just, I think if you don't get an apology internally, sometimes people say you don't cause your own trauma, but it's still your responsibility to get over it. Yeah. And so that's also another advice to my younger self. Like, I always used to feel like,
Someone owes me an apology.
My high school head teacher or whatever. Like,
Sasa akuje kwako akwambia, oh, Alice, I've seen you on YouTube. I'm sorry.
Ain't nothing like that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, so just accept,
Move on.
debrief, move on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about friendship. Sorry. Yeah, so I think for me, I didn't. We've just gone about life. I mean, I had friends in primary. Actually, most of my very close friends in primary ended up like relocating to South Africa and Australia. So go to high school.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it's like they have one was half Australian. Anyway, TMI.
TMI.
TMI. So, um, my most I think the friendship breakup that until today like is like the one I remember or like was really significant was in high school. I know this is someone you've pitied masaibu your high school. You see life together with this person, for forever,
It's true.
and then something happens that you can't really explain what has happened and all that. So I just tell myself to be prepared for that. Just be prepared. Doesn't mean and there's still more heartbreak to come. I
This.
know. I don't
So you
know.
said basically back to your point of expect. You learn how to
Yeah.
deal with
And
heartbreak,
as
even
much
in
as there's
like
heartbreak, there's also
opportunities.
love that's gonna come. I saw a quote like, "I'm not even yet. You've not yet even met the number of people who are gonna love you.
Love
And
you.
who you're going to meet." And I'm like, okay, that's exciting. That's giving me
It
some
is
psych.
exciting. And one thing I always look forward to I always tell myself like at the beginning of every year, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet new people
So many
this
people,
year.
yeah.
And I always
And they
do
might be
because
in
I'm
your
like,
life forever.
and every year I end up meeting new people and maybe working with new people. And, as the years pass, it also means maybe you'll shed some people, but it's always exciting to think about. I've still not met everyone who's going to be in my life.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
Amazing. I know. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy, but yeah, just the heartbreak is also part of it. People grow, people have to leave again. As I said, sometimes physical distance you can't withstand that, and that happens, and it's a natural death, and it's okay.
It's okay.
It
Yeah, I
is
think
well.
we can end it there. I think,
Yeah.
in summary, at any stage in your life, just be kind to yourself and give yourself grace
The
because
grace. Oof,
at the end of the day, you did what you needed to. You
to
did
do.
what you did based on the knowledge that you had at that time, and so there's no right or wrong way for formula for life. So yeah, you live and you learn.
And I like what you say. Just give grace because we're talking in hindsight. So we've seen how it's panned out. But at that moment, or when you're still in that season, you can be very hard on yourself. You can compare yourself. You can really go through it. So this is just
Exactly.
to encourage you. I know some of you maybe are in that season of your life currently. Just to breathe in, breathe out, and move from where you are right now. Make things better right now, or be still. Be still.
There's still a lot more to
I
come.
know.
Even when we look back, every year maybe we'll do like an episode that recap, and there's still so much we still don't know, and we are yet to experience. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's wish each other all
boo.
the best.
So, guys, thank you so much for reaching this far into the episode. I hope you did enjoy it. It feels like a continuation of the couch
The couch
therapy
therapy.
episode, but
And these
which you
days we are
guys
too
really
deep.
liked anyway. I think guys like when we're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
like Mrs. Oye.
make sure to like this video, share it with a friend or two, leave a comment. Tell us some of the things you'd tell your younger self actually on the comments.
Yes.
And subscribe if you haven't. Follow us on Instagram as well.
And our subscribers are growing, guys.
Oh
Finally, you're
yeah, road
listening
to
to us.
1K.
Surely, we are now this far on. Road to 1K should be something simple. Let's just
Get it done
get
with.
it done. Let's
So we
get it
can aim
done.
higher
We aim higher.
for the plaque.
Amen. You never know.
You never
You
know.
never know.
By the way.
We're just on our journey to get there.
Yeah, boo.
So
So,
yeah.
so guys, see you. My name
See
is
you in the next
Alexia
episode. My
Musau.
name is Alice Kanji, and
And
we'll see you in the next one.
bye bye.
Bye.